Thank you, everyone, for coming. Without much ado, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Basic Soul Unit.
Thank you.
Great. So, what's your government name?
My government name is Stuart Lee.
All right. You are a DJ and a producer, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Do you consider yourself more one than the other?
Definitely more a DJ. It really took me a long time before I kind of even considered myself a producer or an artist. I've been collecting music since the late 80s, before high school, and just DJing at house parties, school parties, and whatnot. And I started getting serious about DJing in, I'd say, like the late 90s. So definitely I've been more of a DJ on the more DJ side of things.
Was it more important for you at the time to present music that the audience was familiar with, or were you like making a hardcore effort to kind of introduce new music to the audience? Like how important was that?
It was definitely a bit of both. And that's the one thing I learned is just like, good music is just good music. Doesn't matter if it's underground or popular or whatever, commercial. Definitely I always DJ with the intent to make the crowd happy and dance, but at the same time I want to kind of like play stuff that they know as well as stuff that they don't know. And, it was definitely more of a musical thing, especially, the small Octopus gigs in Ivy Lounge and stuff like that. The crowd at that time, I think it was like around 2000 thereabout, was like very, very open-minded actually, for a sizable kind of scene that we had. I mean, of course, there's the commercial stuff going on in the club district and all that, but, we were playing anything from jazz to Latin to hip-hop to house to broken beats to whatever. And it was very, I'd say it was kind of like one of the peaks of the many different eras in Toronto dance music. And people were very receptive and open to dancing to different things if you had the skills to kind of create, weave together a good set for them.
So you go from jazz to funk as a DJ, and then as a producer, you're doing something a bit different.
Yeah.
So when did you decide to start working on your own productions, and also the type of genres that you were interested in creating as a producer?
Like when I was growing up in the early 90s, high school, I was definitely like a house head. So I was very much into the scene at that point. And house music at that time, like kind of late 80s to early 90s, there wasn't so many subgenres. And when you go to a party, you would hear, like Chicago acid jacking stuff. You would hear like Detroit kind of techie soulful stuff, deep house, and then you would hear vocal stuff from New Jersey or from New York, and then you would also hear some UK stuff. So it was always a good mix, and that's always been a part of my history. And later on I started getting into the Brazilian jazz, this, that, but when I started producing, I'm not musically trained or anything like that, and I just kind of press buttons on some gear and on the laptop or whatever. And so I think it has a lot to do with how I produce, and also at that time I was starting to get back into listening to house and techno, and basically that's what came out. It's just kind of like a combination of what my skills were and what my background was and where my headspace was at the time. So,
Are you making use of social networks, or how do you feel that's affected you musically? Since I'm sure when you started, these things were not as prevalent.
yeah. I'm definitely using them. I mean, I'm on SoundCloud, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook. To be honest, I don't really know how much of an effect it has. I think as far as at least SoundCloud, it's been working out okay, and people are kind of checking out my sound that haven't heard of me before or something like that. And I get like some messages here and there from people in random places, kind of like just asking for advice, giving me demos or whatever. So it's cool. I don't know how much that actually translates into helping your career. I mean, I don't have a sense of whether somebody heard of me through these networks and wanted to book me or bought my music, or that's kind of like a weird thing that you can't really put a number to. You know what I mean? But it is important because just everybody's online these days, and you gotta have some kind of a presence, I suppose. So yeah, I do it, I think, because it's a way to put yourself out there. And these days, with kind of the internet being the way they are, it's kind of weird. Like, a lot of people would say, it's a more level playing field. Independents can do their thing and have their own following, but in a way it's not true too, because that most people are going to be reading Resident Advisor or like some other kind of online mag that's relevant to your genre. So it's kind of weird, like you think it's going to be a more level playing field, but in a way it's the opposite. Everybody goes to that same source because basically, like, you're on the internet, and it's like, where do you begin? You kind of go where of like the big ones that you've heard of.
For the students here at Off Center DJ School, they're learning DJing, they're learning production, and possibly in the beginning of their career. So do you have any advice?
Always have a plan B. It's it's like graphic design. I do graphic design as my day job, and I do it from home, but it's even that, it's kind of like I work freelance, so in a way it's the same. You gotta network, get out there, make connections, meet people, keep working on your skills, but always have some kind of a backup. I've never really I think like kids nowadays, they kind of like see all this kind of glitter happening in the media as far as DJs and production is concerned, but that's maybe like 10% of the people that are out there that are really making it, and the rest of us are playing at these small lounges in the city kind of thing. I've done that too, still do. But yeah, like, and it's like we were saying earlier, as soon as money enters into equation, as soon as you're trying to pay bills with it, it becomes a different thing. It loses a bit of love, I guess. And so if it's a passion, and if music is something that you love, then do it for that reason. And like, you do have to get yourself out there and network, but if you do the music for yourself, I think the end product will be that much better, that people will take more notice than if you were just in it because you wanted to be a DJ or something.
Do you want to plug any recent or any current projects?
Not much, other than the label that we're talking about. It's called Labor. I started it with my friend, a longtime Toronto DJ, Jason Elrich. And basically, at the moment, it's vinyl only. And we are talking about digital. But yeah, go on to your favorite websites, whether it's Juno or who else sells it? Clone or Rush Hour or whatever. Play the record, has a couple here and there. And, listen to it on SoundCloud and check it out. Feel free to give me some criticism too.
Can we all please thank Stuart for coming out today? The weather is beyond not cute.
Thank you
today.
all. I guess I gotta say you guys are pretty dedicated for making it out here tonight.
Yeah, there's like a foot of snow outside.
I
Located in the vibrant Leslieville area, steps from frequent public transit, Off Center DJ School offers interactive and hands-on classes in electronic music production and the art of DJing in an intimate, comfortable, and inspiring environment. Our family of instructors are well-seasoned professionals and are ready to take your dream or curiosity to the next level. Visit our website for more info on how we can help you reach your goals.